Welcome back to Shoot Podcast episode 3, and today we are joined by our lovely production manager, Alex.
Hello, Chris. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. Give us a quick introduction as to who you are at Shoot Business.
Okay, so I am the production manager, which means I wear many hats.
yeah.
Many hats.
Well, we all do, don't we? So.
Yeah, I get the joy of being in a small company, right?
Yeah.
So I'm there for the client from the very beginning, from discovery call where we start working out what their project is, through kickoff calls, pre-production, helping with script writing, ideation, up to shoot days, where I'm usually kind of producer director or shooting director, depending on the scale of the shoot. And then, and kind of everything in between that, like I'm kind of making sure that I'm getting the clients guided through their journey in the most kind of enjoyable, clear, concise and understandable way, making their lives easy. And then I kind of fill in many other gaps here, but that's my kind of core responsibilities. And then once we've finished the shoot, I hand stuff over to Val, who is post-production manager. That's kind of in a nutshell.
Would you consider yourself creative?
I guess so. It was something like my entire family are in kind of creative spheres. My dad was a writer, director for theatre and radio. My mum was a choreographer and dancer for theatre and some film stuff.
Well, like West End?
It's like some, but like no, kind of like smaller scale stuff.
So she was on stage, or
no? She was. So she moved into choreography quite early. Her first big thing was. Do you know Bugsy Malone? You're probably too young. Do you remember Bugsy Malone?
The
rapper
film
in
Manchester?
No. No, it's like a gangster film with kids. It's got Jodie Foster. It's Jodie Foster's first film, and she was like 12. Anyway, she was a choreographer on that, and she worked on some films with The Who. Tommy.
The Who?
Yeah, Quadrophenia.
What, the band?
The band, yeah. You know who they are, yeah.
It's the song, right? Who are you? That's sung by them,
The
right?
Who.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did they sing that song?
Which song?
Who are you?
I don't know. Sing a bit more, maybe we'll see.
No, I can't. I can't sing, so I'm not doing that.
Sorry. I've got sidetracked here.
Standard.
Standard.
Yeah.
My brother's an actor. So basically, in secondary school, I wanted to kind of completely go against that, and I was like, I'm going to be a scientist. And so I started doing all my science A-levels and stuff, and I got like half a term into my first one, and I went, no, I'm not doing this. And I moved colleges, went and did film, and like, I think everybody's creative, realistically. I think there are certain people that find it easier to exercise it, but it is that you just need to exercise it. So if you're given something like the role that I have here, the job that I have here, it's you're constantly being presented with creativity. I find for me creativity needs some kind of limits. If people kind of go, do whatever you want, then I find it really difficult. As soon as I get a brief and some constraints and some kind of purpose behind what I'm doing, then so I'm saying like I get to exercise creativity. So on a day-to-day basis, I'm practicing at being creative, and therefore I get more creative and ideas come easier, or kind of working out what people need becomes easier. It's like any skill, right? So I don't think it's something that's innate, like with anybody. I think it's something that you kind of gravitate towards because maybe you have a particular skill at it because of whatever. For me, it would have been like even my wider family are creative. We've got writers, we've got kind of game book writers, computer game developers. Like there was always a kind of an element of all of my family kind of wanting to create things, and I guess
yeah, that's interesting. That I remember the first time I met your brother, and I was like, hang on a minute, I recognise him. And
it's funny
he was
that
in my family when as the kid. Yeah.
It's funny that people still recognise him, because for me he looks a very different person from who he was then. But I guess like kind of
I just remember
you don't get rid of your face,
I remember
do you?
watching it when I was younger, and I was like, I loved it. And I think because I'd worked with you for like a few months and stuff, and obviously he was just your brother. Like he wasn't like
still is.
yeah, of course. But you never mentioned it and stuff. And obviously we met him. It was like interesting. I want to, I suppose, kind of go back to like when you first started like creating video and like that journey, I suppose.
You're just looking to date me now, aren't you? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but like obviously, cool. You studied it, but then like, what was your kind of? Do you remember your first video project? Do you remember what you were recording on? Like how you kind of got into it? Your first sort of gigs.
So, it was before I studied it that we started making films. Me and my friends. My friend's mum's partner was a cameraman for lots of BBC documentary stuff, and he gave my friend a video camera, like quite a like posh prosumer video camera for the time. So it's like a little Panasonic mini DV tape camera with 3 CCD chips in. So it's like, for a, what would we have been, like 14-year-old or something, 14, 16, something like that.
Yeah.
It was a posh piece of kit.
How long ago was that?
I'm not good at quick maths. A long time ago, more than 20 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, quite a few more. Yeah, it was a while back. And we started making little short films and music videos and just kind of little silly skits. This was before YouTube. YouTube would have probably existed, but it was like, when I say,
did it?
when did YouTube come out actually? Like it wasn't like
early 2000.
Pre
Twitter was 2007. I don't know why I know that. I think.
Yeah, it was before. Yeah. It was before anybody put stuff out there, and you were consuming other people's kind of homemade media on YouTube. So the first film we made was called Teenage Stoner Kung Fu Skaters.
That's just a lot of words kind of mashed together. It's not really a sentence, is it?
It was about a bunch of teenagers who were stoners, who knew kung fu and liked skateboarding.
You were cool kids, weren't you? Wow.
It was about two friends going to the shop to get Rizzler because they'd run out, and seeing a hitman about to kill somebody, and they leap into action and kung fu the hitman, and then the guy who's going to get killed manages to get away. So then the hitman comes after them, and it's just a like big chase scene. Little kung fu fights.
Creative.
Have to defend the house at the end. And then the hitman gets run over by a car at the end. It was good. It was like really, really it's like a very solid kind of little skit thing for a bunch of 14-year-olds to have made. It's good fun.
Could you see it doing well today?
we put it into some film festivals. So we went and we watched it on a cinema screen at the Brixton Ritzy. Yeah, it was good. Like everyone else's were like proper art house films, and then we came along with our little silly kind of bunch of stoners having kung fu fights. I think it was a good light relief. I think everyone really enjoyed it.
What I suppose the more like the paid gigs that you were doing, I suppose, like what?
So
You started
so later on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So that was early on. Then I did a BTEC. Obviously, made loads of stuff there.
Yeah.
Best piece of education I've ever done. Then
and that's like what you was that college or?
It's like A levels.
A-level,
Yeah,
okay.
it's the equivalent of. So like you do. You've got like 3 units. So if you get distinction, that's like 3 A's at A levels to get into uni.
Yeah.
Then went and did university. Did it at Manchester Metropolitan, which was great. I'm still sticking by the BTEC being the best piece of education I've ever had. I came out the other end, and not even came out the other end. So while we were at uni, we were putting on club nights, breakbeat,
in Manchester.
And
whereabouts?
Everywhere. So it was called Subspace, which is now Black Dog Ballroom.
Oh right, yeah. Like
the one on New Wakefield.
Oh, right.
It's like 3 floors now, isn't it? So there was the downstairs, and then the other one was a different club. So we did it in there at some time. We did it at Paradise Factory, which is now Factory.
Oh right.
Whatever it's called.
Student club. Whatever.
We did it at the other one, which was Black Dog Ballroom, which was called North something. All over. Did it in a little the church down by Platfield Park. Like our mates, like there's a like a little one. It was called the Chapel. Our mates I think they started squatting there, and then they turned it into a venue and started putting on stuff there. So we did it there. But anyway, then yes. Me and my mate who I was at uni with started making like videos for the club nights that we were doing. Like no one else was doing it. No one was making club videos at that time. And so we started doing that. Lots of people saw them, and lots of the other nights from around Manchester started asking us to make club videos for them.
Decent.
So that's where we started. And me and him worked doing that as You Naughty Monsters for years, and then started getting into other bits of freelancing around that. Bought our first posh camera, EX1, Sony EX1, which is now a very expensive paperweight. And just started getting into more kind of corporate stuff. Did weddings.
Yeah, because you're a wedding.
Kind of everything. Had kind of tried our hand at everything really. He moved down to London for 10 years ago, probably, maybe longer. And he works in a post-production facility now as a technician, kind of like small start-up, which does remote editing suites, which is really cool. He's really, really enjoying it. He was always kind of the more techie minded out of the two of us.
So bringing it back to, I guess, so when you were kind of doing the wedding filming, etc., and obviously the more corporate stuff, could you tell us a little bit about the production process now and how that's kind of changed from when you started, from pre-production right through to post?
It's a tricky question. I think that when we were younger, we didn't have as much of an idea about how to make everything run as smoothly as possible.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff was kind of work it out on the day.
Yeah.
I think there were less examples and different sources to be able to look at and take from, in terms about, to see what other people are doing and stuff. I mean, still we're kind of in infancy of YouTube. When Shoot Business started, we were having to convince clients that they needed video.
Yeah, Naomi always tells this story. It's crazy.
Rather than what type of video they need or how they're going to reach their market, or if we're the correct agency to fit with them. It was people saying, well, what do I need video for?
Yeah.
And we were having to say, at some point, just the same as you now need a website, you now need video.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it really was night and day. I mean, I also at that point, so when I was freelancing, I was either a cameraman or an editor. I wasn't really a producer.
Yeah.
So I would turn up and people will tell me what I need to do and I will do it. I'll shoot it and I'll hand a card over at the end of the day, or if I'm editing it, take it back and edit it. But my role wasn't as much in pre-production. But yeah, it was definitely not to the level that we do it now.
Yeah, so you've almost morphed into that kind of role, and it's the majority of your role right now, isn't it? Pre-production.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Being a producer and planning and stuff like that.
Yeah. Which I really enjoy. I really enjoy the ideation stages. I really enjoy, kind of tweaking scripts, working out how we're going to tell stories, working out, depending on what type of video it is, who we're interviewing, why we're interviewing them, how that's all relevant, what we're going to show visually, writing the shot list I find exciting, like being able to visualize what it's going to look like in my head as much as possible at that stages. Then there's all the other stuff which comes with pre-production, which is the booking locations and actors, or
do you like
kind of
organized?
logistics stuff. Sorry,
do you like being organized?
So it's interesting because I wouldn't say I'm a particularly organized person. Like, it's not something that comes naturally to me.
What, in like personal life?
In personal life, in just who I am, I've always it's kind of something that's been born out of necessity. So I mean, like, I think I do enjoy it. Like, I do enjoy phoning around locations, chatting with people, kind of getting stuff like that. I don't know. Like, I think there's an element of organized chaos. I do my best. Like, I always have I think at the moment I've got 10 projects in pre-production,
and they're not small projects.
And then no. I mean, some larger scale than others.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I guess there must be a part of my brain that's good at being able to compartmentalize and switch between one thing and the other, and work out what is the next important step to make in each of those. Because I kind of liken this to, when you've got 10 projects on, it's like spinning plates, right? And you've got to make sure that none of those plates wobble. Yeah. Like, as soon as those plates wobble, your clients are not having a good experience.
Yeah.
So it's just about making sure that you're spinning each of the correct ones at the right time and moving those things on. So I guess that does take a level of organization. But yeah, I would never have said, if somebody asked me, are you an organized person? I would probably say no. But I guess there's degrees of that, and just the same as creativity, as we said earlier, the more you practice doing those things, the better you become at them.
It's very true. I was going to ask what you love most about your job.
Okay. I guess it's kind of everything. I like working in. I like working in a smaller company. I like having a level of. Sorry, brain fart.
Yeah, I think I agree.
I've got it if you want me to go back. So I like working in a small company. I like having creative control. I like being able to see a project right through from a client coming and saying, this is the problem we're having, we don't know how to fix it, or we know that we need to use video to kind of get these messages across, or how we're going, and going through that whole stage right up to the point where it now gets handed over. I used to be involved in editing as well, to a degree. But like watching those final videos where it's all come together, and that the client is going to be buzzing when they get to see that for the first time, that's always a great moment. I love shoots. I love being on shoots. Like, they stress me out. Not in a negative way, but like my kind of like I'm hype on shoots.
No. So it's that old saying that if you don't get the nerves of the butterflies, then you don't care enough, or like you're not, that excitement's kind of gone, and that passion.
Yeah.
So it's good that you get that.
I used to get really nervous about big shoots, like for like anxiety level, kind of for weeks before. And I had a very good friend of mine, like when I was going through one of those kind of goes. So like, what is your track record of ever having failed at one of these? And I was like, you know what? We haven't. Like, we've always managed to deliver. And she's like, there you go. Like just let go of it. Like, it's not constructive. It's not useful. It's not what you need. And I think, I still, like I say, I still get nervous.
Yeah.
Because it's, people are trusting you, and they're big projects. People are trusting you, and you want to make sure that trust is well placed. But yeah, like you say, if you don't get nervous, then maybe your heart's not in it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it's a big thing that we pride ourselves here at Shoot Business is providing an experience.
Yeah.
They're not bothered about the expensive camera equipment and this and that. It's they say,
it helps.
Yeah, it helps, of course. Yeah, but the main thing is they say, I love working with Shoot Business. They're great people.
Yeah.
Talk to me about fish.
That's quite an about turn.
What's the name? It's not a fishologist, is it, or something?
A fishologist.
What's the...
No.
Aquarist. Is it
Aquarist.
Aquarist.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you class yourself as one of them?
No. I keep fish. I keep some fish.
So is that like...
Mostly successfully, but not always.
Yeah. Is that like a different ranking then?
No, I think... No. A lot of people take the hobby very, very seriously, and there are some people out there who more seriously than me.
See, I think maybe because I'm obviously like way off the spectrum, but like, I look at you. I mean,
I mean, I take it seriously.
Of course.
You've created an environment and decided to put a whole load of fish into it, and it's your responsibility to keep them alive, and happy. But so it was a hobby that came to me. I used to keep fish when I was little, like as probably lots of people did, like poor little goldfish in a crappy bowl.
Yeah.
That like we used to take out and scrub and clean and like once a month and stuff, which you're definitely not supposed to ever do.
I think a lot of people, like I know when you're younger, it was you get a couple of fish.
Used to win them at fairs, innit?
Yeah, and it was a bit.
Goldfish, goldfish. Now I've learned are supposed to grow big, what we kind of keep them. Not nice. So it kind of started with me when me and my partner have got a little one. She's 3. When my partner was pregnant and we were doing Olive's room, my little one. We've done it all under the sea themed, and I was thinking it would be amazing for her to have a tank in there, for colour, for a bit of white noise with the bubbles, for just it's like a nice thing to have. And I mentioned this to a nice sensory thing. And I mentioned this to my mate, who is he's got the best job in the world. He maintains builds and maintains huge big fish tanks for. Well, he's kind of moved on from that, but super rich people. He did used to work in places like that, but no, he went freelance and he'd do it for footballers. So he's always NDA'd up the wazoo. So he'd go into posh people's houses and always standardly build them the fish, the wall that goes in between, like you want to be in Romeo and Juliet, a saltwater aquarium. And he just started asking me all these questions like, what kind of fish are you going to do? Are you going to heat the tank? And I was just like, I know nothing about this. So over COVID, I just went through just a rabbit hole of learning about it, through video, through various MD fish tanks, like YouTube, MD fish tank, Serpa Design. I think they're my 2 favourites. And so then my mate built me the tank, big old
massive.
250 litre fella. It's gone through. I've had one scape, now I've rescaped it now, so it's all like a big planted thing, huge big like tree root that kind of comes down to one side, and I've got a bunch of South American fish in it, so like tropical fish.
It's really nice. Like, obviously I've seen it, and like, you know, I was quite impressed. Like, maybe, you know, convince me a little bit, you know.
Yeah, man. Like, yeah.
You say you just sit there and you just watch them. You got these like living creatures, just like
when we're watching TV, I'm not watching TV. I'm just like listening to TV and watching the fish. Yeah. And Charlotte used to get annoyed with me. They'd be the first thing I'd check when I get in home. She's like, you haven't even come and said hello, and you've gone and looked at your fish.
Wife, kid, no fish. Like, in that order. What type of project do you love doing the most?
Okay, so as a project, I guess I like adverts because they're super planned, and you kind of the detail is there, and you get time to make sure that everything is correct, and you're doing everything as planned, as signed off by the client, you know, the whole way through. So I think as a whole, that would be my favorite project, because you come out the end and you see you see it, and it looks cool. Yeah. In terms of like day-to-day favorite things, I like, so anything with interviews. I love going on a shoot. I love interviewing people.
You are good.
Which is because it's interesting, because I don't really do it in real life. Like, not interview people, but I don't like burrow down and ask loads of people loads of questions, but I kind of get to fulfill that in my role. Like, I get to sit down and be that person who kind of interviews people. I find it really interesting.
And sometimes you're having to do that off the cuff. You know, you kind of
I mean, hopefully not, but but it does happen. Yeah, I mean, like events and stuff like that, where somebody just throws somebody in front of you and kind of goes, "We need to get some stuff from this person," and you've got to kind
think on your feet, yeah.
But actually, you know what? Actually, having said hopefully not too much, but I find that not over planning an interview is the kiss of death for an interview. It's much better to understand, like, so in pre-production, I will ask the client for who we're interviewing and what it is that they think they're going to bring to the video. I don't want to then have either the client or me write a whole bunch of questions. I think it's much better to be able to read a paragraph about, like, what this person can tell me and get an understanding about that, and then I'll do it in a much more conversational way, rather than kind of being like, okay, next question, you know, just like, I feel that it leads to better, more relaxed interviewees, better conversations, and ultimately better sound bites for the editor to be able to do their magic with. Yeah,
absolutely. I almost questioned whether to include this in the podcast.
So this might be a point where we edit this out.
What time are we on?
It's 1:45.
1:45. So how long are we rolling for?
Or also maybe a little bit short.
That's
a bit
fine.
shy.
So we're on time anyway. How are you currently using AI in your role? And how do you think it's going to affect the video marketing agency or the video marketing world in the future? Yeah,
it's a very big question, I suppose.
Yeah.
In terms of how I'm using it at the moment, I'm using ChatGPT on a regular basis. I use it to help me with a lot of grunt work. If I have written a shot list, time management stuff, like things that used to take me 2 hours can take me half an hour now, which means I can watch more fish videos on YouTube. I don't do that. I'm not no, like, you know, like just real simple things, like you've got all your information where you've got your locations, you've written down your shot list, you've written down your interview stuff. It can start building you your shooting schedule, and it won't get it right, but it will take all of your information that you've already populated one big document with and repopulate a new table, which would have just been like, it's grunt work, right? It's copying and pasting a whole load of information over while working out how long everything is going to take. And it just does that for you very, very fast. And then you check it. You have to, you treat it like yeah, exactly. But like an assistant who's, you know, maybe it's your niece and she's doing work experience and she can do some useful things, but she doesn't always get it right, and you have to definitely double check what she's doing.
We've used it as well with note taking, obviously on calls.
Yeah, absolutely, really useful, because especially when you have lots of projects on, I like to think that I can retain a lot of information, but it's it's a brain, and it loses stuff, whereas AI note assistant will keep everything, and you can just ask it a question, say, did they mention this? I think they said something about this, and they'll just pull out that piece of text, and you're just like, okay, cool.
We've had it where I've had a call and you've actually asked me a question, and I'm like, no, I don't know the answer to that, and we've just put it into the note taker.
You can't retain everything,
and it's actually, you know, he has actually answered that, and I'm like, oh, right, well,
really useful. I used it the other day I had a whole load of data set where somebody had sent me where every single billboard for a campaign was going to be. They wanted to include some shots of these billboards within their promo video, and I threw that data into chat, and it then gave me a file which I uploaded into Google Maps, and it dropped a pin for 50 billboards, which again would have been, you know, going into Google Maps and typing 50 different locations and adding it to your, you know, just
and
done.
Did it give us like a route as well, almost as well?
I planned the route afterwards, because I chose which ones we wanted to do and what would be the most efficient from where we were going. Really useful in that sense. In terms of the actual video creation, I mean, it has got scarily good very, very fast. It's not going to yet. It's not coming for what we do. It's, you know, especially in the corporate sphere, where actually the people are the important part. You know, if you're doing testimonial or company overview videos, or you're wanting to learn about a specific thing in a company, it's niche, or
filming a construction project
or an event, or, you know, these are things that actually the purpose of the video is to show real people doing it and to break down walls, you know, so like especially a client testimonial, that is about making sure that your real client can speak in front of your potential clients. That, you know, AI ain't coming for that. AI ain't coming for interviews for real people. It's not. You know, in not too long, I would imagine that you might be able to sort some B-roll. I mean, you could now already, but whether the cost and time is worth it to shooting it at the moment, you know, debatable for the quality. And
there's still management, design, you know. Levels of like pre-production that will potentially be required.
I think that people are still going to be, you know, people don't like when AI is used in like in a photo campaign, or I mean, there's really worrying things about it as well. You know, you think about how much like we've gone through trying to get body positivity out there for like campaigns, for fashion campaigns and stuff like that, and then AI is going to come in and just give us perfect humans the whole time. That's going to be a problem, right? And that's an ethical problem that people who are involved in that world are going to have to like deal with. But I've lost my train of thought.
Just AI.
Oh yeah, sorry. But people don't want it to be that yet, and it might be that they don't want it in their videos. They want to show real. If you're going to show a video, you're going to show real. If you're going to use AI for art purposes, or like as an animation or things like that, I don't think anyone's going to have an issue with that.
Yeah.
But trying to claim it as real, I think people still are going to have an issue with, and that might be a generational thing. The next younger generation of people who are growing up with much more AI visuals in their day-to-day life, an avatar explaining certain concepts to them, or AI influencers and stuff like that, they might not have an issue with it on the same level as people of our generation.
To organisations, more specifically in healthcare, where there are potentially manuals or quite long, in-depth text.
Yeah.
That they just need someone to basically
present
put a voice to it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So exactly. So there are definitely places where it's useful. So an avatar to give you a white paper from a medical journal is realistically, these doctors, it's either you read the whole thing or you listen to it, or you kind of you have a visual there, which isn't that important to them. But so it might be that they just press play and do other things while they're listening to it and occasionally watch it. In back in the day, you would go and we would go and film a doctor. You'd schedule a time to fly over to a conference somewhere where you've got them all together, and you'd go and do a series of all of these interviews with slides, and they present the white paper. I still don't think that's going to completely go, because especially in the medical world, you have your key opinion leaders, and having that key opinion leader on your video is so much more powerful than having a plug-in from an AI. I want that avatar. That's exactly. People, them being the person they are adds gravitas and weight. There's that. But also then they speak around the topic because they are experts. The AI avatar is only ever going to read you the white paper. They're not going to have an opinion on it or learned experience about it. So you are losing something there for sure. If it's a cost-saving activity, which is interesting when we're talking medical, it's not somewhere where they need to really cut costs. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting 10 years.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes, aren't we? Cool.
I'm being very polite to AI all the time, just making sure I say please and thank you, because at some point...
I've seen your chat, super. You are polite. I think I'm a little bit on the aggressive side.
You've got to be careful when your toaster comes for you in the night, man.
Yeah, I'm like, no, you've got this wrong. What are you doing? It's like telling him off. He's like, I'm so sorry. But, right, so I just want to finish with all questions. So 2 negatives, you have to pick one. Super quick fire. You ready?
So what you're going to say you're going to say 2 things till my call. Till my call.
Right. Quickly, 2 minutes. Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Bad lighting or bad camera?
Bad lighting. As in, I'm confused. So bad lighting is worse than having a less good camera.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Bad lighting.
You choose bad lighting. Okay. A tight deadline or a limited budget?
Limited budget.
Poor audio or bad visuals?
Which is worse? Poor audio.
No, which one would you pick?
I'm confused.
You have to pick one, right? So you have to pick which you prefer.
Oh, which I'd prefer. Yeah. Oh, so I would prefer a bad camera.
Okay.
What was the second one?
Maybe I've confused this. A tight deadline or a limited budget? Like, which one would you prefer to work with?
I would prefer a tight deadline.
Yeah. Sorry, I explained it badly. My fault. Would you prefer to work with poor audio or bad visuals?
I would prefer to work with bad visuals.
Last minute changes or miscommunication?
I'd prefer to work with last minute changes.
Unprepared talent or uncooperative crew?
I prefer to work with unprepared talent.
Delayed schedule or extended shoot hours?
I would prefer. What was it? What was the first one?
A delayed schedule, so a delayed shoot probably, or extended shoot hours.
Extended shoot hours.
An unclear brief or unclear direction?
Well, directions on me, so I guess I'd prefer to have an unclear brief than me being rubbish.
Bad weather or technical failure?
Bad weather.
Unrealistic expectations or impossible deadlines?
Impossible deadlines.
Unorganised set or chaotic location?
Chaotic location. I mean, they're very similar, I think.
Okay, cool.
Right,
Right, anyway.
right, what have I won?
Nothing.
Nothing?
I don't know. You're getting lunch today anyway, so.
Oh, okay, cool.
Thanks
I
for watching.
eat lunch every day.
No, from the boss.
Okay.
Takeaway. Thanks for watching Shoot Podcast. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers, Alex.
Thank you. And we're clear.
Stop.
Right.